Hello guys, my name is Destiny and welcome back to my channel. So in this video we're going to go ahead and talk about 10 simple JavaScript projects that you want to build as a beginner. So as a beginner, you want to take on those projects to get your hands dirty, and if you can master this project by learning all the logic that the game requires and all that, then trust me, your skill in JavaScript is already getting home. And if you want to see more videos like this, do make sure to drop a like and also consider subscribing to stay updated with future videos like this. I will drop it on our channel, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, are you looking for the best JavaScript projects for beginners? And if you are serious about becoming a web developer, you need to start applying your JavaScript skills to real projects as soon as possible. Yeah, I know it's sometimes difficult to find JavaScript projects that match your skill level and are fun to build. So to help you get started, I've put together a list of 22 fun JavaScript projects you can start working on right now. I included both beginner level and intermediate level ideas to make sure that you won't get bored watching this video. So all you need to do is sit through the video, and I'm gonna put you through 22 JavaScript projects that you're going to build, and each of those projects is open source, meaning that you can use the source code for a guided learning and it's totally free on the internet. So I'm going to link them in the description below, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Now the first one on our list is Vannila JavaScript Stopwatch. And when we say Vannila JavaScript, what does that mean? It means that we have to build a stopwatch using pure JavaScript. We are not going to use any libraries, we're not going to use any frameworks or things like jQuery or React. We ain't going to use anything like that. We're going to build it solely off JavaScript alone. Now the first on our list is Vannila JavaScript. So coding a JavaScript stopwatch is an easy little project you can build in a day. Even as a beginner, your stopwatch needs 3 buttons for user interactions, such as, let's say, the start button, the stop, and the reset. And you could play around with some CSS to make it look pretty good, and you're all done. Number 2, we can build a JavaScript clock. Building your own digital clock with JavaScript is a relatively easy small project to practice variables and simple if loops. Again, you want to use some CSS to customize the design and make your JavaScript clock look so amazing. Number 3, we have JavaScript calculator. Coding a good old calculator is excellent practice for your JavaScript skills. Create a clean interface with HTML and CSS, and then add different features with JavaScript. Firstly, you need to start with basic operators and buttons for additions, subtractions, multiplications, and divisions. And there are a lot of videos online on YouTube, on Udemy, that's going to help you do things like this. Number 4, we have JavaScript drum kit. So if you want to build a JavaScript project that is ton of fun but still allows you to learn quite a bit, then you're going to love this one. I discovered this JavaScript drum kit a while back and I fell in love with it instantly. Seriously, it's such an entertaining and fun project to build, trust me. All you need to do is head over to the link in the description. There is a course or tutorial that's going to help you do that, and boom, you're there. So the 5th one on our list is JavaScript Guess the Color game. Okay, coding a color guessing game with JavaScript is quite straightforward and easy. Firstly, you build a game where the player will see a single RGB value for a color. Secondly, the player has to click on the color they think matches the RGB value displayed. It's a quite easy and straightforward game, and you can easily add more features to the game to make it even more difficult. For example, let's say you could limit the number of guesses or give the player 3 lives. So when they exhaust the 3 lives, then it's game over, and with every wrong guesses they will lose one definitely, and the game will be over when they run out of life. Okay, so hopefully you understand how that's gonna go. Number 6, we have JavaScript Hangman game project. So building a Hangman game is one of the best JavaScript project ideas for beginners who want a bit of challenge. If you are not familiar, the Hangman game is about guessing a random word by guessing letters one by one, and if the player runs out of guesses, then the game is over. Although the gameplay may sound simple, you need to still consider a few critical elements in your JavaScript code. Firstly, you need to set a maximum limit for guesses. Also, you need to display the remaining number of guesses to the players, and finally, you need to provide the player with an interface to impute their guesses. So hopefully you understand how this is gonna go. So this is just an overview of how your game might look like. Now, the beginner JavaScript projects will probably take you a bit longer, but it's a great idea to practice on projects like this. You need to think about random choice, variables, booleans, values, inputs, outputs, strings, length, and much more. Number 7, JavaScript Tic-Tac-Toe. So building a Tic-Tac-Toe game with JavaScript is another excellent project idea you can finish in a single day. You create a 3 by 3 grid where 2 players will take turns making the grid with cross and circle symbol. Hopefully you understand. If you don't understand, okay, let me just say that again. Now you have to create a 3 by 3 grid, you know, tic-tac-toe 3 by 3 grid. That's gonna make it a total of 9 where 2 players will take turns marking the grid with crosses, yeah, like X, something like that, and circle symbols. So the first player is to get 3 marks in a horizontal row, vertical or diagonal to win the game. Although the game seems simple, but you need to figure out how to create the logic that follows the game rules in JavaScript. Before you start writing any code, what you need to do is break down the flow of the game into logical steps. For example, a game like tic-tac-toe, I'll find it helpful to draw a flow chart to visualize the different outcomes of the game. When I see the flow on paper, then to me, I don't know about you, but to me, it becomes more easier to write the actual code. Number 8, JavaScript Pong game. So Pong was one of my favorite video games back in the day. Did you know that it was one of the very first commercially successful game ever? No, you don't. Or maybe you do. So building a game in JavaScript like this, a game like this in JavaScript takes some work, but the end results can be ton of fun to play. You know, again, all you need to do is start by thinking about the rules of the game and map out the different events your code needs to cover. As you build the game, you'll probably come up with few ideas on how to make it fun. Also, you may want to create different difficulty levels for your game. For example, you might want to do something like the ball could move faster after a given number of rounds, and to make things even trickier for the player, all you need to do is just do something like allow for the computer to move the paddle more quickly. Yeah, hopefully you understand. So that's going to be even more challenging for the player. Now Pong is rather complex project if you are entirely new to JavaScript, and I think the most difficult part of this project is of this project idea is to make sure the computer doesn't always win. So that's the difficult part of this project idea, to make sure that the computer doesn't always win. So make sure you have a couple of easier projects under your belt before taking this one on. Number 9, we have JavaScript pairs game. So coding a JavaScript memory matching game or pairs game is another fun project you could build for fun and for your portfolio. Now the logic of this game is quite simple. Firstly, there are a given number of cards on the table facing down. Now the player needs to find all the pairs of the card. For example, let's say there are cross, circle, and square that are facing down. Now the player needs to find all the square, all the circle, and all that to win the game. However, you may want to add more difficulty by limiting the number of guesses or by setting a time limit for the game to be finished while the user is picking up the cards. Hopefully you understand. So this is another great project for practicing, not just for your JavaScript skills but for your HTML and CSS too, because it's pretty much gonna get your hand dirty. Okay, the easiest way to create a matching card game is to put different colors on them that the player needs to match, but you can also use images, icon, and numbers, you know, to like make things even more difficult. Number 10, JavaScript maze game. So I was a huge fan of drawing my own maze game when I was a kid. Therefore, learning how to code my own maze game with JavaScript was so much fun. As for the difficulty of this JavaScript project, it's somewhat demanding more than others. So if you are just getting started, make sure you feel comfortable enough with JavaScript, or let's say with the language, before you start building this game. So that's it for the 10 simple beginner JavaScript projects that you might want to get your hands on. Trust me, if you can build all this and learn the logic that goes into making them, then I know that your skills in JavaScript is already getting honed. So I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, do not forget to drop a like on this video, consider subscribing, and also smash the like button. So if you have any question, any issue, I'll be in the comment section to help you debug whatever you are facing. And for the meantime, I hope I'll see you guys in the next video. Mad love, peace out.